Bona tarda a tots, benvinguts.
Good afternoon. Welcome. I'd like to welcome you to the signature of the Barcelona Declaration on the use of time. And I would like to particularly welcome the Honourable President of the Generalitat of Catalonia, Mr. Pere Aragonès, the Deputy Mayor, Jaume Colboni, the MEP, Mr. Rasmussen, the Coordinator of Times Use in Barcelona, Marta Junquer, and Ignace Glorieux, President of IA2UR. Welcome all of you who are coming here from the areas of the world, and I'd like to welcome all of you. The pandemic has left an important wound in our society. The loss of thousands of lives, an economic crisis, which has been very difficult for many, and the awareness of a world which is more and more unequal. Inequalities which will impact on families and which also influence on the use which we do of our time. This is not something which is to be ignored. We have seen how the workers with lowest income have less free time. Those who have a greater purchasing power, and women, if you like, take the Davos Forum said that the time, the difference between of time to reach parity between men and women has gone from 99 down to 35 years. The gender gap is widening again. It's a lovely word, but rather, if you like, ill-used. That is why it's important that today in Barcelona, 75 world institutions are breathing, if you like, breath into this declaration to guarantee the right for time of the citizenship. But it's important, it's not just the signature of the document, there is a commitment to ensure that in 2 years there'll be initiatives and policies which will improve our lives and will have a positive knock-on effect on our health, on equality and productivity and organization of enterprises. This is a pioneering declaration which has the stamp of cities. Cities are always vigilant for the needs of their citizens, always on the front line of claims, both for what is good and what is bad, often. Cities seek innovative steps or routes to harmonize our personal, family and work time. And you politicians are responsible to ensure these ideas, these 10 commitments, end up being implemented into reality, to work to modify the rhythm of cities, to ensure that it is adapted to persons and also to the organization of our work. We have many challenges ahead to turn our cities, our areas, our common areas into areas which are greener, friendlier, more sustainable, to which we all feel that we belong. A city which is where daily life is the center of this change, seeking proximity and vertebrating the territory, creating networks between neighborhoods, districts and cities. Progressive policies in a democracy must aim at seeking a new social organization, which right now is based on a model of last century. That's not what we want. That's not what we need. In that way, we can guarantee the physical and psychic well-being of society at a moment when we are seeing an increase of mental health issues. All that can be overcome if we have different use of time. Technology can help, but we must be careful. We all need to disconnect from these technologies. I'm sure that all of those of you who have been here during confinement have had to suffer teleworking, either during lockdown or during the pandemic. This is a danger for the rights of working people. All that is what we need to change. A regulation which is tailor-made to gain flexibility and to have time. Because time is not a question of personal organization. It's a lot more than that. It's a problem which is of a structural, where we all have to work to that end. And from here, from Barcelona, thank you ever so much for seeking time to ensure that we can all actually gain more times. It's a very encouraging motto, and hopefully that in a short time these 10 commitments are turned into reality. Thank you very much.
I ara donarem pas a l'il·lustrat.
I shall hand the floor to Rasmus Andersen, a member of the European Parliament. He is here on the screen. Hopefully we can hear him.
To hear you at least. Thanks for inviting me, also for a short message to your conference. First of all, I'm sending you the greetings from a member of the European Parliament, which really are appreciating the work you are doing on this very important topic. Time policy is linked to a lot of different elements we are discussing at the political stage. And I mean, you mentioned already some of them in your introductory words. And I think that the right to time is something which should gain a lot of support also in the European Parliament, within the European institutions. I'm at least supporting the right to time. And I think there are many also concrete references to what we are dealing with in the European Parliament and in the European institutions in general, linked to the debates about equality, both on gender equality, but also on the big inequality we still are facing in Europe from a regional level, but also when you're looking on different groups in societies, there the time policy would add a new dimension also to the debates we are dealing with, and where we actually also are working on concrete legislation. But the same is true with the Green Deal in general and all of the elements included in the European Green Deal, because my deepest feeling is that we need to have like a life cycle assessment on all of the policies we are dealing with, all of the proposals we have to decide on in the European Parliament. And this means that our common goal should be to have a healthier and sustainable society, European society, and we won't achieve a healthier and more sustainable society if we are not also developing time policy. My feeling is that this is still a very new topic related to the work in the European institutions, but I think that we all can get a lot of input out of the work many of you already had done in the past. And I'm also saying this coming from a city, Flensburg, close to the Danish border, where also time policy, at least from a civil society or science perspective, is playing an important role also in our university here. And I think this is something we should support. We need to build networks. We need to support and promote research projects, but also more concrete action when it comes to time policy and the developments. And we need to make society, but also especially policymakers, aware of time policy. And this is what I would like to do also together with you. I know that there are discussions about a possible European Academy for time policy. This is an interesting idea. I think we should discuss further, and I'm sure you will do this in the coming hours and days at your conference, and I'm happy to follow up afterwards. I would have loved to be part of your conference and to discuss this also in person, but actually this isn't possible because of some of the political work I have to do here in my constituency. But I wish you all the best for your debates and discussions, and if you would like to reach out to me and to follow up on some of the elements I've mentioned, or maybe also to some of the elements I've missed to mention, then please feel free to do so via email or through other channels. I'm always, you can always contact me. Thank you.
Ara donarem lloc al discurs del
Now I shall hand the floor to Ignace Glorieux, President of IATUR, who shall, if you like, say a few final words to conclude this Congress, this International Congress on the Use of Time. Mr. Ignace Glorieux has the floor.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you very much for inviting us here. In fact, we are here since, well, part of us since Monday, since the start of the Time Use Week. Most of us, the last 3 days, we had our World Conference, our yearly World Conference of the International Association of Time Use Research here. I can say thank you for your hospitality. It was a very fruitful conference, a lot of nice ideas, and during this week again, I think it was made very clear how important time and the social organization of time are as parameters for a healthy society, and how politics can intervene in the social organization of time to improve the daily lives of people. Many of today's social problems have indeed to do with time. Bad work-life balances, inequalities between men and women, traffic jams, performance of children at school, time pressure, stress, health problems, and many other complaints in modern societies are affected by the way social time is organized. This is exactly what the Barcelona Declaration of Time Policies is pointing at. In this memorandum, the subscribers call upon the European institutions to provide for explicit time policies leading to better quality of life, healthier and sustainable society, to just relationship of genders, generations, and to sustainable development. To achieve these goals of the Barcelona Declaration on Time Policies, an action plan was developed in which it proposed to set up different working groups, with each of the relevant organizations taking part in this. And one of these working groups that will be established is on time use research. The group will be committed, and now I quote from the action plan, to promote, conduct and share relevant research on time use from all fields, to contribute to the existing knowledge, find a higher integration between research and time policies. And for this, we, so the people from the Declaration, will further cooperate with the International Association for Time Use Research and work together for the creation of the European Academy on Time Policies. Of course, as the president of IATUR, I am very happy with this initiative. We are convinced that good time policies must be based on reliable and accurate facts and insights of the temporalities of society. Time use researchers study how people organize their daily lives, how time use of individuals is embedded and affected by organizational time, such as working hours, opening hours, how calendars and culture affect the temporal organization of societies and the time use of individuals and families, and how the human body and natural rhythms condition our daily actions. It's clear that this is not an easy task since it deals with very different life spheres that all are interdependent and interrelated. But in time use studies, researchers try to deal with this complexity by gathering detailed information of daily behavior of population. So what we usually do is ask respondents to register in full detail all their daily activities, and together with the starting and ending times, more often also detailed context information such as interaction partners, place of activity, and often also subjective aspects. Over the past few days during the Time Use Conference, time use researchers from IATUR have been able to get acquainted and to discuss various initiatives from here in Barcelona, but also from other regions and countries. Researchers could share their insights of time use studies with the people who are involved in concrete time policy initiatives, and I can assure that this resulted in a very fruitful exchange. So it was a fruitful conference. Let's hope that with this conference we have laid out the foundation for a better collaboration between time use research and public policies, organizations and societies. That was exactly what this conference was all about. We from IATUR, we are very happy to have subscribed the Barcelona Declaration on Time Policies. We'll be happy to cooperate in the action plan, and we are sure this will lead to, finally, a better cooperation and hopefully also to a better society. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ara, la coordinadora de la Barcelona Time Use.
Now, the coordinator of the Barcelona Time Use Initiative, Marta Junquer, will tell us what the declaration involves.
Bona tarda a tothom.
Good afternoon to all of you. Dear President Pere Aragonès, Mr. Jaume Colboni, Deputy Mayor, authorities, and dear friends who are with us here today, in person, also virtually. We know there are many people following us remotely. In this event, which is a formal presentation, of the Barcelona Declaration on Use of Time. I'll say a few words in English and I'll go back to Catalan.
Authorities and colleagues, and especially thank you to all of you that are connected around the world to join today to the Barcelona Time Use Declaration. It's a pity that you cannot be here, but we feel you very close, and we hope that we can work together in the coming months. And thank you as well to IATUR for choosing Catalonia and Barcelona to celebrate the Congress, and it has been a real pleasure to host you. Com dèiem, week fa tan just una setmana.
As we were saying at the opening of the Barcelona Time Week in Barcelona, it's no coincidence that Catalonia Barcelona is the host for the IATUR Congress, and this declaration bears the name of our city. It is no coincidence because here, in this territory, we're pioneers in time policies and carrying out agreements for time. And since 2017, we have a covenant or a pact for timetable reform. There are not many examples of that in the world. The other day we were saying, and it is pertinent to mention it, as Sylvia has said, the timetable we have here are unhealthy. They generate inequality and actually make it worse. And I see many social partners, and they aren't that good for productivity either, or competitiveness. So we believe that we must deeply transform this time organization. And to that end, we must work at a local level, as we have done, and to continue doing that. We must work here in Catalonia, but we also have to work at a global level, because there are recommendations and laws which are out of our remit, but we have to work as a network. And we should do that by learning and sharing our experience with other players who also have good practices in this sense. That is why, in the last 3 years, we kicked off a multi-institutional strategic alliance between the Generalitat of Catalonia, the regional government, the City Council of Barcelona, the Provincial Council of Barcelona, and the metropolitan area of our city, to contribute starting from our local and Catalan experience, to put time policies at the heart of the global agenda and do away with these inequalities we were telling you about. This reflection we have done together with other fellow travelers, if you like, and they have also been part and parcel of the declaration. Worked with the expert lab of the Barcelona Time Use Initiative. We have worked with a network of local and regional governments for the use of times, with the German Society for Time, and with the International Association for Time Use Research. Altogether, we have reached the conclusion that it was high time to launch the declaration. More than 1,000 people have been involved, world experts, people interested in the use of time, and it is one thing is fairly obvious. Time policies can be a key tool for economic and social recovery and to overcome the challenges which we have in this context. The climate crisis and the crisis of care. That is why discussions are all very well, debates are all very well, but we do need hard and fast commitments. And I'd like to tell you what are the 3 key commitments of this declaration. First and foremost, the declaration is a pioneering and strategic agreement to put time as a right for all citizens. It starts laying out the fact that time is a political issue and can be seen as a right for all citizens. It recognizes, as does the Economic Commission of the UN, says that right to time is distributed in a very unequal fashion. That's what we mean when we talk of if you like, time poverty.
Coses del directe. Sí? Ara. Doncs com us deia.
So, as I was saying, it's actually quite something to see this room full of people in front of me. So, as I was saying, time is a right of all citizens. Therefore, we must tackle this time poverty we suffer unequally. Therefore, what we always say is that if the distribution of time has generated inequalities, it is now high time for it to generate rights. Another commitment in the declaration is that it creates an alliance, an international alliance, which is multi-level and includes over 100 organizations. Relevant and active organizations. We did not go and try and knock on everyone's doors around the world. We wanted this declaration to be signed by those organizations that today are actively working to promote time policies and are currently working to push for new and improved uses of time. These 100 organizations include international, European and regional, local, multi-level organizations. We were also trying to make all actors represented. That means think tanks and research centers, regions and cities, social and economic parties, and the civil society. The alliance between these four stakeholders is fundamental to make these policies a reality. This declaration, which we are signing today, will remain open over the next few months in order to incorporate further signatories. And finally, the third element I'd like to highlight is that the declaration is a tangible and realizable commitment. We do not want an agreement which is merely going to be a piece of paper. We really want to help make complex time policies a reality. And that's why you will find roadmap 2022-2024 that shows clearly what commitments we are making today and how we are going to make them happen. Finally, I'd like to highlight 5 key commitments out of the 10 which are part of the declaration. We work in order to coordinate ourselves. We are working together. Let's coordinate with one another. We are going to work to raise awareness. It's all very good to have these discussions in this room, but we must take them further. Therefore, this declaration is going to be a key element to make that possible. We are going to continue working so that other international organizations, such as the EU, which are reference, a beacon, will continue working on recognizing the right to time as a citizen's right. We're going to work to formalize the local and regional agenda for time, so that increasingly more policies can be implemented. And as Ignace was saying, we're going to bridge the gap between research and public policies in society, because that's the way in which we can make progress implementing public policies to do with time. And finally, and this is a very timely issue, bearing in mind that we're going to move to winter time this weekend. We're going to promote a debate between the scientific community and political personalities in order to bring this to an end. So 3 years ago, it looked like a dream that the Time Use Week was going to be a key event for the time organization ecosystem. But we have managed to make it happen, and now I encourage you to continue working to make our commitments a reality and turn time into reality for all, a right for all citizens. We look forward to working alongside you. Thank you.
Tot seguit, l'il·lustríssim
We shall now give the floor to Mr. Jaume Collboni, the Vice Mayor of Barcelona, who will tell us about the importance of this declaration having the name of the city of Barcelona. Thank you, Silvia. Good evening.
Warm welcome to our city. Molt honorable President de la Generalitat, representants.
Honorable President of the Generalitat, representatives from the local and region, provincial area of Barcelona, representatives of the civil society, of trade unions, ladies and gentlemen.
To be the first city in the world which signed this political declaration on time use policies, which is taking here in Barcelona now. Les polítiques de l'ús.
Time use policies, or time use as such, is probably something we have learned from an early age, that it's the only thing one can never get back. You use your time, you invest your time, and it never goes back. So defining how we use our time, what we do with our time in our personal lives, our spare time when we are at work, in our society, defines what we are as individuals and as a society. Having a political awareness of what time is and of the use of time probably springs from two key sources. First of all, workers' movement and the feminist movement. I was starting with the workers' movement. Many years ago, there was the celebration of the 1st of May, fighting for 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, 8 hours of leisure and culture. So that battle for time was something that distinguished, that set aside for the workers' movement what should be a new reality of social and workers' rights. And on the other hand, the feminist movement highlighted how time use was a source of inequalities between men and women in relation to the division of tasks at home and outside home. I'd like to therefore mention both those movements because they were pioneers in this time use movement. Today we make an important step, and I'd like to thank in particular Marta and the different platforms that have been working tirelessly in this area. Also our friends from Ayatur and all of you who have been working in different initiatives over the years. As a city, well, as a city representative, I think it is an honor that this declaration is named after the city of Barcelona. But I think Barcelona deserves it, given that it has been a pioneering city, not just in terms of theory, which is important, but the step we're making today in terms of establishing public-private partnerships with social agents, economic organizations, research organizations, all these extremely important alliances in order to carry out this transformation in the use of time in our cities and in our societies. Commitments such as the one we're signing today are crucial for that. As I was saying, Barcelona has been a pioneering city. Already back in 2003, we had the first Councillor for Time Use. We created a network of European cities to promote the use of time. We signed the agreement on the reform of the use of time. And these are just a few of a long list of steps over the past few years to improve our city, to improve our quality of life, to improve the productivity of our economic fabric, and doing so with a commitment to a new set of time uses. That's where the novelty lies, and that's where we were pioneers. So I agree with Marta that the use of time is a right for all citizens. Marta has said that. The workers' movement, feminist movement have said that. It is therefore, given that it is a right of all citizens, it is a political duty to make that happen. In this declaration, we were talking earlier about how this movement is crystallizing, particularly at the local level, because we are the ones who are closest to people's daily lives. Therefore, we are more aware to the need to tackle the use of time at a political level. This is an international agreement, and it should allow us to move forward. At a city level, the debate we're having at the moment, we certainly are in Barcelona, is we're pushing for the 15-minute city in terms of mobility and transportation. We also have a network with over 130 companies and organizations who include in their collective agreements experiences on new ways of using time. And obviously, the pandemic and the different lockdowns have taught us that this new approach to how we manage our time can be revolutionary. We want to make changes, we want transformation, structural change. We want to improve the opportunities we have to have a better life and to have more rights and to have more equality. We must make that happen also with this new vision on the use of time. Thank you all very much once more. Congratulations. And the doors to Barcelona are open if there's ever a need. Barcelona is a pioneering city. Catalonia is a pioneering area in Europe in the use of time. I'd now like to give the floor to the Honorable President Pere Aragonés. Good afternoon, dear Councillor of Equality and Feminism, Tania Verge, Alba Vergés, Mr. Collboni, Ignace Glorieux, President of the IATUR, Marta Junqué, co-coordinator of the Barcelona Time Use Initiative for a Healthy Society, Ariadna Güell, co-founder of the International Alliance for Natural Time, and Ariadna, coordinator of the Barcelona Time Use Initiative, representatives of the Diputació of the Metropolitan Area, social and economic agents, general secretaries of the main trade unions, president of PIMEC, president of Foment del Treball, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The government of Catalonia has been committed to promoting policies to reorganize the use of time for a number of years now. We saw that already in 2014 when there was a pact for time use reform, also in 2017 when this pact was signed by a great number of organizations, or with the similar plan signed last year. In government, we want to cooperate and strengthen the work done by many towns throughout the country and of organized citizens who have promoted over the past decade various initiatives so that the right to time is a right of all citizens that cannot be separated from equality and the right to care. So this is going to help us make Catalonia a greener, more feminist and fairer society. With all these transformations in time use policies are fundamental because lack of availability of time is yet another expression of social and economic inequalities that fragment our society. Social transformation requires people's fundamental rights to be enjoyed in equal measure, without distinction, time to access education that allows us to acquire new knowledge, or even time to learn Catalan for those people who have arrived recently to our country, time to enjoy our sons and daughters, time to take adequate care of our health and the health of those around us whom we care for. This requires rethinking those transportation which is not necessary. This will also mean improving the quality of life both in rural and urban settings. Democracy requires participation. This participation at all levels can only be achieved when citizenship has time to do so. And finally, the feminist transformation is at the bottom of any of these transformations. We need to have new time policies to make everyone's participation a reality, especially that of women and especially of those women in the most vulnerable social groups. We need time policies so that women can enjoy the health and well-being they lose when they have to work twice as much or 3 times as much outside the home and inside. And also for women, for migrant women who sometimes work very far away from where they live and who have to work extremely long hours to make a living. We also must ensure that women can have access to all services available to citizens, specialist resources, and that go beyond any form of discrimination we may suffer. Time has to stop being a luxury only for a few. It must stop being a privilege that the most people in the most precarious positions in our society, particularly women, cannot always access. It must be at the center, the heart of all policies to get rid of all discriminations and all forms of violence. Time policies are inherent to the deep transformation we are committed to achieving in this society, and therefore time policies are incorporated into the competencies, into the remit of the new care, use of time and equity of work unit in the Department of Equality and Feminisms, with the specific task to make these cross-sectional in all areas of government. Time policies must be akin to having a cross-sectional gender perspective and a cross-sectional approach to public policies. With all plans, they must be included in plans that aim to a fair distribution of care.
Internationalization of the effort to promote time use policies beyond our country and place them at the center of the public agenda. We enrich our perspective, advance and learn about better time use policies through the change of experiences and the coordination of initiatives at European and global level. Participating in international conferences such as Time Use Week and the Conference of the World Time Use Research Association are key to achieve this. We trust that the work and collaboration at both a European and a global level through the network of international time use policies will allow us to share good practices on local and urban time use policies, lessons learned and recommendations that will lead us to improve the development and implementation of these policies at both local and national level. We also want the Catalan experience to be a landmark for the development and the implementation of time use policies in other countries, cities and regions. This is why today we signed the declaration, and that's why this government will continue to contribute to the creation of knowledge in the field of time use policies, to make Catalonia a leading actor in this field by strengthening dialogue between all social sectors. La signatura d'aquesta declaració, doncs, és...
Signing this declaration is yet one more step in our commitment with fair policies, equitable policies in the use of time. We are proud to share this effort with all of you, with the institutions and organizations you represent, all of you who are here today. We will continue working on it to recover time and make it a right for all citizens. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.
Darrere meu apareixen ara tot.
Behind me, you can see the logos of all entities and organizations that support this Barcelona Declaration we're signing today. There's over 50 of them, over 70 of them, which are represented on the screen behind me. Hopefully in the next few days and weeks, plenty more will sign the declaration. We're now going to have a group photo with all the institutions and personalities represented here who have supported the declaration, the Barcelona Declaration. I will start calling the names of many of you who are still here in the room with us that must come up to sign the declaration, and after that we will have our picture taken.
Sí, heu de sortir fora, que es fa...
You must all go outside. The picture will be taken on the stairs, but please, not everybody should leave the room right now because a few people still have to sign the declaration. I'm actually not sure whether they should come up to the stage to sign the document. I'll call your names. Vice President of the Diputació de Barcelona, Maria Lluïsa Martí Servidor. You can all go out. You can go out.
Secretari general de la UGT. El senyor Toni Mora, president del Consell de Treball Econòmic i Social de Catalunya. El senyor Joan Roget Alemany, vicepresident de Foment del Treball. El senyor Josep Ginesta, secretari general de PIMEC. Senyora Laura Foraster, secretària general del Diplocat. Senyora Ariadna Güell, cofundadora de l'Aliança Internacional pels Horaris Naturals. El senyor Dietrich Henkel, president de la German Society for Time. El senyor Ulrich Mackenberger, membre de la Societat Alemanya del Temps. La senyora Marina Lafay, regidora de Polítiques del Temps d'Estrasburg. El senyor Jean-Yves Bollen, membre executiu del Tempo Territorial. La senyora Jennifer Ramírez i Porras, regidora de Presidència de l'Ajuntament de Terrassa. L'il·lustríssim senyor Àlex Garrido, vicepresident de la Federació de Municipis de Catalunya i alcalde de Manlleu. La il·lustríssima senyora Mercè Bosch, vicepresidenta de l'Associació Catalana de Municipis i alcaldessa de Maçanet de Cabrenys. La senyora María Nicolopoulou, membre de l'Associació per al Desarrollo de los Bancos del Tiempo. La senyora Elvira Méndez, presidenta del Consell Assessor de la Reforma Horària i coordinadora dels Bancs del Temps de Catalunya. El senyor Xavier Sunyer, membre del Consell Executiu de l'Associació Iberoamericana del Banc del Temps. El senyor Ricard Gomà, director de l'Institut d'Estudis Regionals i Metropolitans de Barcelona. La senyora Sara Moreno, investigadora del CUIT i coordinadora de la línia de recerca focalitzada en l'anàlisi del treball, el temps i la vida quotidiana. El senyor Albert Esteve, director del Centre d'Estudis Demogràfics. La senyora Mireia del Pozo Ferreras, directora del Centre d'Estudis de la Dona a Europa. La senyora Uriel Sullivan, professora del Centre for Time Use Research. El senyor Jordi Cruz, president de Metges de Catalunya. El senyor Ramon Auger, d'Unió de Pagesos. I fins aquí acaba la llista. No sé si la resta volen acompanyar a fer-se la foto o esperen aquí mentre s'organitza la foto que estan fent a les escales del recinte modernista. Moltes gràcies a tots per la seva dedicació i molt bona feina amb aquesta declaració.
Vale, anem aquí un momentet tots.
Allà, sisplau. Ara vull una altra persona.
Tenim?
refrigeri als jardins per celebrar.
There will be a glass of wine served in the gardens outside to celebrate the signature of the declaration.